get to your book. The title is Folly of Realism. What is realism? And what problems did realism cause? And maybe we could use Russia as an example.
Sure. So I think this was, by the way, my doctoral dissertation. So get ready. Make sure you drink some coffee. Actually, it's been completely rewritten to be accessible, I think, to a general audience, because the topic is just too relevant. I finished the dissertation itself in December of 22, and then spent the bulk of 23 and early part of 24 rewriting it so it's readable. Why? You know, people kept asking me, well, isn't the war going to be over by then? No, it was not. The last part of this book was finished, the epilogue, which might be a little bit of predictor, it might resonate to what we're seeing now. Well, that was written in the 96 hours immediately after Trump's election victory on November 5th, and unfortunately has so far proven to be too accurate. The title was something that I sensed during my time in government, that we kept repeating the same mistakes over and over with Russia. And it really boiled down to one feature. We put Russia first, and we were consistently transactional. And that's the tie into realism. The fundamental premise of realism is that countries pursue their national interests and pursue their national interests maximally. So everything becomes, what is this deal? What is the crisis immediately in front of you? Now, maybe the sophisticated practitioners, Kissinger managed to accomplish something under realism, but that's an anomaly. The rest of the practice of realism has been deeply flawed and highly transactional to what's immediately in front, the risks in front or the opportunities in front. So the folly is that we keep repeating these same mistakes, and now we have the ultimate folly, which is a Trump administration that's maximally transactional, doesn't care, is completely disinterested about anything historical, anything beyond what's immediately in front of him, his own vanities about his personality and his ability to engage with his counterparts. And the folly is really Trump to a certain extent, that we're now at this maximally transactional state of realism. But I think you're going to ask me about it, but I think the subtitle is maybe even more interesting and less esoteric.
Okay, I'll ask you that. Go for it.
So the folly is this idea of transactionality and short-sightedness, and the fact that we get played either because the Russians played to our hopes or to our fears. But the subtitle is unfortunately couldn't be more accurate. It's how the West deceived itself about Russia and betrayed Ukraine. And the whole idea here was to do a case study of realism through the Ukraine, Russia, US lens, track across 6 different administrations, multiple really kind of inflection points in the relationship, whether it's Ukraine's independence, denuclearization, the Orange Revolution, the Russia-Georgia war, the Russia-Ukraine war that started in 2014 and then went to full scale in February 22. And explaining that this school of thought doesn't really work. Why? Because we sacrifice values to what's immediately in front of us. And my proposal, which I'm sure we'll get to in greater detail, is something that's much more long-sighted. It's the fact that we need to bring our values and our interest in balance. We need to, actually, coming out of the Trump administration, we need to recognize values primacy, that values are central to democracy's interests. Why? Because they allow us to focus on what's really important to us long-term, not what's immediately in front of us, either the risk, and those risks could be everything from a more difficult relationship with Russia to nuclear or to succumbing to Russia's nuclear extortion, nuclear saber rattling that allows them to feel more comfortable graduating from just mischief making and coercion to hybrid warfare and interference in elections to military aggression, or just to these short, really in a lot of ways generally insignificant wins on the policy side. And focusing on values would tell you that you need to focus on what makes us strong, our relationships with our allies, our relationships with NATO because it's the bedrock of our security. It's the strongest, most important, most powerful security alliance that the world has ever seen. And it also points to the fact that our most important, the countries that share our values of the Europeans and fellow democracies, it also points to the fact that those are the sources of our economic prosperity. So that's the fundamental prescription, is that we've lost our way, we've sacrificed our values to our interests. We need to bring this mix back into harmony, and certainly in the near term, that means values primacy. We put values first, allows us to focus on really what matters, and frankly recapture some moral leadership that we're going to need to do coming out of the Trump administration.